a new hope, a new beginning, a new chapter. I'm like, have you assholes not been in power the last term? Like, what the fuck are we even talking about? I have unfortunately been watching the DNC. I watched the Obama speech last night in real time, and this shit is breaking my goddamn brain. We have Kamala Harris, who literally has been appointed as the nominee. Not a single fucking soul voted for her, okay? Yet this is the party of, quote, democracy. And look, despite the fact that I just don't like Kamala Harris, all of that aside, I'm looking at this, I would say the same thing no matter who it was, what side, right? It's really concerning because the lady changes her positions on things. No one presses her on it. She doesn't face the public. She doesn't do any press. And when Kamala Harris mustered the words last night at her rally, "We are fighting Big Pharma," I done fell off my seat. I was like, okay, this is literally rich. You guys all have amnesia. What is happening? And then you had the Obamas last night, right? Who I'm not going to knock. They're both completely gifted communicators, but they're going on, AJ, about this whole thing. A new hope, a new beginning, a new chapter. I'm like, have you assholes not been in power the last term? Like, what the fuck are we even talking about? That is what is 1984 to me. It's like, now she is the savior. We all worship her. The press is behind her, despite the fact that we don't know a goddamn thing about this woman. And we're acting like as if she's not the incumbent, like going up against Trump, and everybody believes it. So what is happening to you, like for you watching this play out? And why aren't people going, I mean, I can't think people lack brains enough to go, she's fighting for this new future on day one. Bitch, you're you guys have been in power and the reason that we hate our lives right now. Like, why is no one stopping to think that? What is going on?
This is the problem with American democracy, or whatever they call it. I mean, I think democracy is a good, or the republic. Republicans say it's not a democracy, it's a republic. Whatever this is, like, it could be a good system if the checks and balances worked, and if they got, I think, like, lobbyists out of politics, it would be much better. But that's the issue, is that because it's the Democrats and the Republicans, it creates two teams. It's like the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party, and Trump versus this person. And there are some differences. I'm not saying nothing's different, but at the end of the day, like, the lobbyists and the big powers, the corporations, a lot of the times, and the left used to know this, like, they're really running the show. So it's like with Kamala Harris, she's basically like an empty suit. Like, she'll do whatever anyone tells her to do. Same with Biden. You know, Trump definitely has more of an agenda, but also, you know, everyone's like, why did he do this, this, and this? It's like, well, because that's how politics kind of works. So when Obama's there for 8 years and he doesn't really do anything great, he can then say, well, I was about to do something great, but then, like, Trump got in and then made it bad. And then, you know, Trump gets out in 2020, and, like, inflation, of course, the Democrats are not helping. They print too much, they spend too much, but also Trump printed more money during COVID than anyone else. And he did commie things like give everyone a COVID check. And that's going to lead to inflation. But now the Republicans get to say, well, it's the Democrats who caused the inflation. If you vote for me, all the prices are going to go down. It's not that simple, although I think it's the lesser of two evils. But then the Democrats can be like, well, you know, they've said two things, which is why they're getting caught up. They're saying it is good right now because we're in power. And it's like, it's not good. They're like, the numbers are good. And it's like, no one thinks it's good. But now Kamala's coming in and she's like, I'm going to fix it. But you don't need to fix it because you're in. Well, I'm different than Biden. You're in Biden's administration. So, like, their messaging is crazy because the Obamas had 8 years. The last 4 years have been Democrats. But that's the issue, is both parties get to be schemy because they can always just be like, we were in, even with Trump, that's the whole, like, narrative of his supporters, that, like, he was about to do everything, but then COVID came and he had to print the money, and, you know, the Obamas would have done this, but Trump got in. So until people realize the two-party left-right system works that way, nothing's really going to change. But, you know, most Democrats really buy into their party and they hate Trump and the Republicans, and most Republicans really buy into Trump and they hate Democrats. And, you know, I'm not saying there's nothing to like about somebody, but yeah, like, it's so obvious to me, but people act like drunk, obese sports fans at a Raider game. It's like telling an Oakland Raiders fan with his belly painted black and drinking beers, like, hey, you know, I think, like, Tom Brady and the Patriots are better. Like, he'll want to punch you in the face. You know, it's like, it's not about logic or who's better. It's about the team, you know, the team they belong to.
And there's no logic. And that is what, to me, is so concerning, because 5 seconds ago, it was literally, replace Kamala, da-da-da-da-da. Now suddenly, you would think that it was like Hamas at a college campus with a shrine. There's a shrine of her on Time Magazine, like her moment. No one, like I said, presses her on, you know, how she's changed her positions on things. And like you said, so which is it? It's like, you know, Bidenomics is working, but I'm going to fix all these on day ones. It's like, well, what the fuck is it? But going off of that, right? That to me is what's so scary, is how the media will, and people follow. Like, they don't even think. It's like, nope, she always had this position on the border, on defund the police and all that. Nope, nothing to see here. No, she was always the messiah despite wanting to replace her 15 seconds ago.